All right, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. I am Andrea LaPointe, and I am your colleague, a teacher librarian. I've been a teacher librarian now for 16 years, something like that. And it just still feels like the most exciting profession that we get to be a part of, always evolving and changing. And this workshop is truly a reflection of that our work, we can always learn more, and we're so responsive to our culture and the times and things in history. And this is just a really meaningful, top of mind topic for me right now. And in my role as a helping teacher in the Surrey School District, I specifically support the teacher librarians. So it's my full-time job to support teacher librarians around specifically in their instructional practice. But you, as you all do every day, juggle many balls, and some of them aren't even yours to juggle. But it's a super rewarding work, and I have space in my work to do quite a bit of professional development. And this is an area I have spent some time in the last year really digging into. So I want to share a little bit with you about why, if my PowerPoint will advance. But first to say that I feel like this session is very short for this topic, a 45-minute session, which is condensed now to even less. So truly, we're just going to be dipping our toes in this topic. Consider it a provocation, if you will, in hopes of you taking away some learning, but also just digging into the topic for yourself and having some resources and a direction to do some more learning. And I know that because for our district summer institute, I did a 3-hour workshop on this topic, and it was still not enough. So I just decided to go for it in 45 minutes, and I truly hope there's something meaningful for you here. And I really appreciate practical Prody, and so we're definitely going to move towards that as well. My acknowledgement today in the session is part of my why. I acknowledge that and I'm gratefully acknowledge that I am in my warm, cozy home that is on the unceded shared traditional territory of the Kwantlen First Nation. Today we call this land Fort Langley, and I live on the side of the Fraser River, where one of the first points of contact in colonization was right here in my neighborhood. And I'm mindful of that every day as I walk and enjoy this place, that it's a part of that dark past of our province and of our country. And I'm thankful to live among the Kwantlen First Nations. They're typically very active participants in this community. Right now with COVID, they're more retreated. But I just appreciate knowing they are here and seeing them when they do come off of their land reserve that is here right across the river from this picture that you're seeing. But I acknowledge my privilege in being here on this land that was taken from them many years ago, and I'm grateful for it and committed to doing what I can to learn what I need to know to take in meaningful steps of reconciliation. And I claim that I'm still in the infancy of understanding that. And I recognize also I regularly make mistakes around language and so I just acknowledge I have a lot of work to do. And I do believe anti-racism is part of that work and understanding that I need to do, because we absolutely have a racist, what's the word? And I'm going to apologize in advance because I'm sure in this presentation there'll be things that I say that later I'll cringe because I'll have learned that there's a better way of saying these things, but I'm just going to keep trying. And please have grace with me and forgive me if I misspeak. But I just And now I've lost track of what I was saying. So let's keep going, because I'm sure I will keep thinking about it. But I do want to also acknowledge the power of story. And I am deeply committed to listening to the story of all people, and recognizing all people as unique and as contributors to our society, and learning from their voices, as well as the story that is told by the nature around us and the land that we are on. And as a teacher librarian, that's a huge part of my connection, is this personal learning, yes, but also how that can live in my professional work. Another why, so I have that lens to why this work is really interesting and important to me. But I also have a friend of 22 years now. I think we've been friends. Her name is Ruth. And she has experienced a significant amount of racism. She was born here in Coquitlam. She lives in Port Coquitlam. She is a counselor, and she works with our family services. She's also a single foster mom. And she's just such a lovely, full-hearted woman, and regularly experiences racism. And even from me, unknowingly, I have made racist comments in her presence, and we have had to unpack that. And so I'm constantly learning from her. And she's another one of my personal whys for doing this work. These words on the slide are some of the values that I use to guide not only my work, but in my personal life as well. And I think they relate to this work in that I really do value authenticity from people, and in myself too, which is an ongoing journey. And I also value learning, and that comes with a curiosity and an open mindset towards learning, as well as going on adventures and going into places I've never been. And sometimes that looks like fun, like traveling or paddleboarding, but sometimes it looks like taking on topics that are big and kind of uncharted territories for me. So I want to invite you to reflect very quickly on what's your why? What's your story for being here? What attracted you to this session? What values do you hold that would reflect you to continue to want to dig into this work? If you're willing to share any of that in the chat, that would be really great. But I also know this is personal, and it does feel very vulnerable even for me to share my why and a bit of my story. So I understand too if you just want to reflect on that. But I'll give you a minute to type something in the chat if you're willing to share a little bit about why you're here or what this work means to you. Thanks for sharing that, Lisa. Yeah, often we can get a piece of learning, and that keeps us hungry for more, or identifies areas where we need to do some more learning. And yes, Jennifer, I'm with you. I definitely acknowledge I have a lot to learn too. Our recent calls, our calls to action and reconciliation, and kind of reflecting on those not being new proposals to us. And yet I think I'm really just paying attention for the first time. Understanding your blind spots. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, you have a role of leader of anti-racism in your school. Excellent. Constructive things you can do Monday morning. Okay, I hope to get us there for sure. Some practical stuff. Diverse friendships have been enriching for me. Yeah, I hear that too. Yes, in the curriculum, this content lives there. And how do we communicate and teach the racism in our history in a way that moves us towards proactive reconciliation? Yeah, great comment there. Thank you. How are other teacher librarians working in this area? Great. Yeah. I have a lot to learn too. Thank you all for sharing that. And continue to post if you're willing, and I want to go back and read these when we have some more time. But we all have a connection to this work if we're willing to see it. And I am just grateful that you're here and interested and wanting to be part of it. I wish I had that 3 hours, because we could have some conversations and I could hear from you as opposed to me just talking. But I do want to get to that practical piece that you're asking for. So we're just going to keep going. We'll see what our time looks like at the end. So one of the main resources that got me thinking very deeply about this is Ibram Kendi's book, How to Be an Anti-Racist. I just learned so much from this book, and I was overwhelmed by his very humble and authentic approach to talking about even his own racism as a Black man and understanding these issues. I do acknowledge this book is the context is very American, and yet the ideas and the theory that I learned from it are very much applicable. So while he speaks very specifically about Black racism in America, I believe that we can understand what he is, the concept of being an anti-racist in context of Canadian racism against many different racial groups. And so because our time is so short, we don't have time to unpack all that he would share and say, but I did manage to find a short interview that he does that really encapsulates a lot of the main points. And so it's 11 minutes long, but I feel like it's really worthwhile to root our discussion in the anti-racist piece of this. So we identify that there is racism, and what we want to be is not racist. We want to be working towards anti-racism and being an anti-racist. So I'm going to push play on my screen. I know I typically present in Teams, and when I do that, you also need to push play to watch this video. So I don't know if that's the same in Zoom, but if I click on this video and you don't see it playing, click on the play button on your screen too, and hopefully we can hear it. So it's 11 minutes. We are going to watch it all. We're going to summarize and then get to those practical parts. And so you can, just make it known very publicly, very, very prominently. Speak up when you hear, I know as a tired, busy teacher, it can be easy to walk by a comment and it makes you twinge a little bit. It's not quite on point, and you're just going to walk by and you're not going to speak up. But taking opportunities to put this in a place of value and engaging students in conversation around how we're speaking. Because again, my instincts tell me that a lot of times it's this unconscious operation. We're operating out of these unconscious beliefs. And so the more that we can speak up and identify those and help students identify them, they probably don't even know why they would say something that would be racist and hurtful. So can we educate them along the way and put that as a priority, even if we don't get to the next thing? Can we also have the guts to do that with our colleagues? And I welcome that in my life from all people. And so how do we have these conversations with people? Could be maybe a takeaway where you're going to do some learning. Fill your bookshelves. We kind of touched on this already. What books do we want on our shelves? Who are they reflecting? What message are our collections speaking to our students and to our colleagues? Because also we know these books are being used as classroom teaching resources. So specifically, what are your teachers borrowing from you? And what is the message in those books? And are we teaching with picture books or with mentor texts that are always showing a predominantly white characters or animals? Did you know that most picture books, there's more picture books where animals are the main character than people of color? So we need to change that. Publishers are being responsive to that. And the diversity audit is absolutely a great way to examine your collection. We are doing that work in Surrey. So Tricia, happy to connect with you around that, because it gives us bits of information to then build a more diverse collection. 2 minutes. Okay, let's keep going here. Proactive teaching. So again, we've kind of touched on this, but when you're planning learning opportunities, is there an authentic opportunity to discuss anti-racism? If it's top of mind for you, if you've done the work reflecting and learning and you're doing that work, are you seeing that come up when you're collaboratively planning? Or is it something that you want to put more intentionally out there, that you want to do that work? And maybe there's a trusted colleague that you can put yourself out there with and give it a go to really overtly be teaching your students about anti-racism. We know that with our competency-based curriculum, we know that we can use a variety of content to drive learning while still teaching curricular competencies and core competencies. So this does not have to live outside of the curriculum. We absolutely know that this belongs in our learning opportunities with our students. And are you having conversations with your colleagues? Are you sharing stories? Are you asking questions? And I know it's hard to put ourselves out there sometimes, but who are we talking to about anti-racism? You know, I saw someone say how much they loved the book. Is it an opportunity for a book club? Or just even a very informal conversation in a staff meeting, sharing an idea? Are you having conversations? Are you putting yourself out there? And what you can absolutely take away is that this is going to be ongoing learning and ongoing reflecting for yourself and work with your students too. I wish I had had 3 hours. I feel like I threw that all out at you, and I'm sure if I watch the recording, I'll be remiss to have missed so many points that I wanted to share with you. Let me right now share this slide deck with you in the chat. I don't think I can do that when I'm sharing it. So hang tight so you can grab it before you go. But please know that I am so grateful that you joined me today, that you are interested in this topic. It's so encouraging that 40 some odd of us are interested in this and committed to, I don't know how I can share this with you. Oh, I know, sorry. I'm trying to talk and do this for you at the same time. I'm going to download it. I'm just so thankful that you're committing to this for yourself. And I know that it can feel overwhelming, but I am just really grateful for you and would be thrilled to have you reach out to me if you have any questions. I am LaPointe_A at surreyschools.ca. And if you hang on tight, I'm trying to find how I can get you the PowerPoint I just downloaded. One step away. I think it's coming now. If this doesn't work for you, please feel free to email me and I'll find a way to get it to you. Thanks so much, everyone. I'll just wait on here for a few minutes if you had something pressing or a question. Otherwise, feel free to go enjoy your lunchtime.